Hey YouTube, welcome to episode 2 of Building Dark Ride. I'm Jake. I'm here today to walk you through the completion or near completion of one of my mini projects, the operator control console. I should say one of the operator control consoles, the main one. So the main control panel that everyone sees at the front of a ride that they see the staff using. So this is the control panel that I'll be using to control the ride on the night of the show. And I want to walk you through what I have so far. All right, here she is in all of her glory. This essentially is a wood cabinet that I kind of handmade with a 3/4 inch furniture grade plywood. Spent a lot of time actually getting it as close to looking as the form factor of a control panel like you would see at the front of a ride. It has a sheet metal covering with the holes drilled in for all the buttons and lights and key switch and e-stop. So what I have here is I have a switch. This key switch is actually for whether or not the buttons work. So in this state, the key can come out and the buttons, they do nothing in this mode. But if I want to switch over and go into operating mode, now the buttons will work. I have 3 main status lights. Blinking green essentially means that I'm ready for dispatch. Blue means that I have manual override mode on. It's not lit now because I don't. Yellow indicator means that it can talk to my car. I'm going to call the car the RV for ride vehicle. I have the e-stop and a light to indicate when e-stop is on. I have the green buttons on either end are the dispatch buttons. I have to press those together to get the ride to dispatch. I have a reset button. This is for the mode. You'll see when I switch over to manual mode, I get a fast blue light here, and I get the buttons for forward and reverse, which can be used. Otherwise, they don't work because it's not in that mode. I have these 12 LEDs across the bottom here that represent what zone the car is in. So one of these will be lit at any given point in time, and it'll represent where on the track the car is so that I can track it. I probably won't have 12 zones, but I at least have 12 lights all situated and ready to go. And for this to make sense, you have to understand kind of how it works. So this is connected to my computer through a USB cable. On the inside, I have an Arduino Mega hooked up to all these wires, and it is connected to my computer. My computer is running a piece of software that was custom wrote by a friend I have in Florida who's really good at this kind of thing. And essentially, this is another version of the OCC. This is the OCC 100. It is the computer-based version of this. So we have the computer-based version, which is the OCC 100. We have the connected device, which is the OCC 1, which is the main console that I'll use. And then I also have one on the dashboard of the RV itself, which this is a more complicated version. I'm actually only using a few buttons on here, so I kind of have to whittle this down and make a different version of this that's a little more simple. But I have a voltage indicator, amps used, same key thing, so normally the key won't be in here, but if I want to hop in the car and override it and drive it on the track, I can do that from here. And then I have the actual components of the ride. So this is the RCS, the ride control system. So all the different pieces of it. The control panel is in no way connected to the car, obviously. So it's connected to the car through Wi-Fi. Using this Wemos, which is essentially it's kind of like an Arduino, but it has a Wi-Fi built into it. Slightly different language, but very similar and compatible with a lot of all the same pin layout and things like that. A lot of compatible interoperability between the two. So I can actually send a command from this. It goes over Wi-Fi to the controller, and then from here I have an e-stop button on the car itself. I have the motor controller hooked up to the motor, and I have a limit switch which will bounce over indicators on the track so that I know where I am on the track. So all this works, so let's go ahead and demo it for you. All right, so let's give you a demo of this thing. Right now, I have it in ready for dispatch. So I have the key set to on. I got my green light. That indicates that the car is ready to be dispatched. We don't have these lights hooked up yet to indicate that I'm, in the station, but ideally I would see the first indicator light here lit up that would indicate that I'm ready for dispatch. But what I can do is I can press these two buttons in unison, and when I do that, you'll hear the motor start to run. It does a slow ramp up and then gets going. I can then use the limit switch. I can tap it. Now it's in zone 2. It speeds up. You can tap it again. It slows down. And then what happens here is it's just scheduled to wait for 10 seconds. So in 10 seconds, it starts up again. There you go. And I can press it one more time. And now I'm back at the station. And it's ready to be dispatched again. This switch will essentially be hovering just a half an inch off the track, and it will roll over little markers that it'll have on the track that will force it to kind of flip as the track as the RV goes across the track. And then obviously I can switch it over to manual mode, like I talked about earlier, and I can jog forward. I can jog reverse. Right now I have them set up at different speeds just to play around with it. I can go back to auto mode and I can dispatch again. And then I can press E-stop. Blinking red light. Car stops just like it should. So I can release E-stop, press reset, and it will resume right where it left off. So all in all, it pretty much does just what I want it to do. I'll go ahead and E-stop it again so I can talk. And that's pretty much it from a control standpoint. Not sure what else to go into from this point, but I think that pretty much covers it. So this is one kind of project of many that is just about complete. Like I said, I just have to put some labels on it and maybe use some fancier screws and build a pedestal for it. Obviously it's not going to sit on a table like it is now. I have the cable coming right down through the center, so I have to build some kind of stand for it. But all in all, this is pretty much done and milestone complete. So next video I'll walk you through some other component which I'll hopefully be wrapping up.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.